talk about the first part of the project. For part one, you're going to start out by choosing three articles that interest you, and they will either have problems or solutions. Your job is to identify the problem in each article. So go ahead and get a scratch piece of paper that you're going to use to write down your problems from your three articles. We're going to take a look at one article together so we can look at how to do this. So go ahead and go into Google Classroom, Classwork, and then go into the Unit 2.0 Biodiversity and Human Impact Project. Go ahead and click on Project Part 1. And then, not the slides, because that's like my instructions, but go ahead and click on the doc. You're going to want to make yourself a copy of this. Your job for part one is to research a specific human impact and potential solution. So, what you need from here is this link right here that says anchor texts. When you click on anchor text, it's going to open up a document that looks like this. So, you can see you get a little bit of an overview in column one about the topic of that article. The title is in the middle column. And then the third column to the right has a direct link to the article. So let's pick one that we want to take a look at. Because we're just looking for three different articles. We're not reading them all the way. We're just skimming them to find a problem. So we can look at some about biodiversity. Let's take a look at this one. So this one's talking about tourism to countries in Africa funds and motivates wildlife conservation. They also help because they're an extra set of eyes on the ground for law enforcement. The article title is Poachers Kill More Rhinos as Coronavirus Halts Tourism to Africa. So let's look at what the problem might be. So the first paragraph is talking about somebody who founded Rhino 911, which does emergency helicopter transport for rhinos in need of rescue in South Africa. South Africa went into a lockdown just like many other countries. So let's look at what this was April 8th, 2020. Okay. So when South Africa went into a lockdown, then what they're saying here is that they had to respond to a rhino poaching incident nearly every day. So the problem I would write down on my little piece of scratch paper that I'm using to document this is more rhinos are being poached because of these countries, especially South Africa, being in a lockdown. So there aren't as many people touring to the places. So there's less people watching. So I would say more rhinos are being poached, is what I would say for the problem. So you're going to do that for two more articles. So go ahead and pause this video and do that for two more articles now, going back to the anchor text list. There's many of them. Look at all these different options. Now, out of those three, please choose the most interesting or important problem out of your three. Please place a star by it. Your job now is to try to find / come up with a solution for this problem. So go ahead and pause this video and do that instruction now, please. And then we're going to go back to our Jamboard as a class that we did from the project overview. Are there any problems we should add to that? Go ahead and pause. Use this Jamboard link within the Google Slides and add to it. Let's go over part one together now that you've done that. So again, part one is in the classwork section, Unit 2.0 Biodiversity and Human Impact Project, and it says Project Part 1. So these slides, those are just my instructions, so you don't necessarily need those right now. We're going to go to the actual doc. You need to make yourself a copy of this. This part will be focusing on exploring some research about how human impacts to the environment around us. Some anchor texts, so that's what the document we were just looking at, have been provided in order to support your research. You're not limited to just these articles to choose your problem. After you choose your problem, you will brainstorm human issues and solutions to this issue. By the end of this project, your goal is to have a solution state, or sorry, by the end of this part, your goal is to have a solution statement to a human impact problem. Below is a graphic organizer to support you in moving through each of these steps, and completing this is your assignment for part one. You can totally craft your own sentences. You don't have to follow exactly what I laid out here, but if you are kind of looking for a little more guidance, you can do kind of a fill in the blank style. So, first question, what environmental issue has human activity caused? Next question, what is something that should change to reduce the impact of this problem? So, a potential solution to this issue. Go ahead and pause it and do the first two and then come back. Now that you've answered those first two questions, you're going to find 3 articles related to your problem and complete the sentences below. So you need to do a little bit of research because you need to find 3 additional articles related to your problem and complete these sentences below. Here's what they're asking. How does research support this issue and potential solution? List the article title and a few points that it made that supports your brainstorm. If you want a little bit of help, here are some sample sentences. Make sure to here, right next to the number 1, make sure to paste a link to your article so that you have it and don't lose it. Also, make sure that all of your articles you vet using the CARP test that we learned when we did the activity about the Pacific Northwest tree octopus. Once you have your 3 sources and your sentences about them, you're going to move on to the problem statement. You need to complete all 3 of these boxes below. So exigence is like just basically a fancy word for like what got you thinking about this? Like, why do we even care? Next one, your initial statement of the problem. So what made you realize that what should happen or what has happened that has negatively impacted biodiversity by, and that's essentially like the problem. And then I propose that. So what should we do and why should we do it? And that is project part 1.